Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our Thursday lectures with Education USA Ukraine. Good morning to our guest speakers. And today we have 6 universities represented from different parts of the United States, which is quite unusual because typically we don't have that many universities at the same time at our lectures. And today we will speak about writing effective essays and personal statements. And I think this is the great time to speak on that topic because that's time of the year when the admission deadlines are approaching, and many students, they are probably working on their essays and personal statements right now. And they are just wondering what American universities are expecting to see on their essays from the international students. So I just stop talking and I'll let you guys introduce yourself, and I'll give you the floor. Before that, just a reminder, we will have time at the end of the presentation for the questions. Feel free to put your questions on the chat box, and I will read them at the end and we will respond on all of them. All right, who is going to be first?
I'll go ahead and introduce the session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. So we abbreviated the topic today, the winning statement, because we want you to provide a winning statement to us when you're applying to universities and colleges. And as Education USA mentioned, there's 6 very distinct colleges and universities here to provide you some information and tips on, again, providing the winning statement when you're applying to US universities and colleges. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the panel, and I'll start with myself. So my name is Kristoffer Toribio. I'm the Assistant Director for Global Engagement for Orange Coast College, which is a 2-year community college in Costa Mesa, California. I've been in undergraduate admissions for 12 years, read thousands of personal statements and essays throughout my career as well, and happy to provide you tips today. Go ahead.
Hello everyone. My name is Youssef, International Admissions Counselor from Stony Brook University. Stony Brook University is a public university located in New York. Thank you for having us today.
Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth Lohrenz from Minnesota State University, Mankato. Thanks so much for joining us.
And hi everyone, my name is Rashad Howze. I'm a Director of International Recruitment at Missouri Western State University. Thanks for having us.
Hey everybody, I'm Scot McClamma, International Recruitment Manager from Pepperdine University in Malibu, California. Glad to be here with you.
And hi everyone, my name is Bobby Branigan. I'm the Associate Director of International Admissions for Embry Riddle Aeronautical University at our Daytona Beach campus. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, panel. So the session goes today is that this is what we're going to be talking about. So we're talking about the importance of the essay, tips of the essay, content and style, the personal statement. We're also going to show you examples of essay questions that you'll see on an application, and we'll also talk about our individual institutions as well. So please forgive me, my camera is on actually, but you can't see me because I think I'm changing the slides, so I will hopefully be on camera later on today in the Q&A session, so I apologize for that. But before we talk about the essay, we actually like to talk to you about just a couple of things to prepare to apply when you're applying to colleges and universities. Oftentimes when you're applying to colleges and universities in the US, you're going to find that a lot of the requirements do overlap. And sometimes universities do share the same application, and a really good example of that is the Common application or the University of California application or the SUNY application. So therefore, when you're applying to US universities and colleges, it's really good to take an inventory of how ready you are to submit an application to us. So one thing that we would like for you to consider is your general interest. What are you interested in studying and pursuing in the US? Now in the US, you don't have to declare your major right away, but it's good to get an idea of what you're interested in studying, because ultimately you would have to decide. Think about your curriculum selection and test prep. Is the curriculum that you're currently doing in your school competitive to the university that you're looking for? And also test prep. Are you prepared for the proper tests needed to apply for those universities? Now, many universities right now, because of COVID-19, is test optional. So also keep that in mind, that other things that might that a test would evaluate would no longer be part of the application. So, but most importantly, marks, grades, and exam scores, we want you to be successful at our institutions. So those are also going to be probably the most important part of your application. However, most universities and colleges will look at you as a holistic student. So we'll look more beyond just your grades, your test scores, and exam scores. You're more than that. So think about your extracurricular involvement in leadership, what kind of opportunities you've taken a part of, what opportunities are available to you that you can still do. And take an assessment of all of these 4 things: your interests, your curriculum selection, your test prep, your grades, and also your extracurricular involvement, and put it in a resume, CV, or checklist. So that when you're ready to apply to other universities and colleges, you have it in a central place, and all your thoughts are going to be organized. And trust me, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to apply to universities and colleges this way. So biggest tip, start early. So definitely start early in this process. It is a process. It is a process, again, to apply to universities, and it can take a while. If you haven't started it, start today. Let's go to the next slide about the type of institutions in the US.
Great. So as my colleague said, the first step in the process before you learn anything towards the application would be like a self-assessment, understanding yourself first, or your qualifications. Also, part of that, you need to be familiarized. You need to understand the educational system and how it works really in the United States. In the United States, there are different schools, different institutions, whether public, private, large, middle-size, or smaller in size, whether they are research, liberal arts, performance schools, and institutions of technologies, career, technical, vocational, etc. Understanding what each one stand for is very, very important, and also understanding which one would be like achieving probably the degree dream that you want, and also the type of job that you want that degree lead you to. So in the United States, there are more than 4,400 institutions. They're all either public, private, and so on and so forth. But it is very important to understand the difference between each one. We are all here, 4-year colleges. There's also a 2-year college, which is a community college here, and that's represented by my colleague Chris. So I'll just stop for a second here, just for Chris to give us a little bit more information about community colleges.
Yeah, sure. So basically what a community college is that we offer 2-year degree programs where it can lead to an associate's degree. So an associate's degree is a degree that you earn after 2 years, and also transfer to 4-year university. It's actually a common way for students to obtain admission to a 4-year university by either doing their first 2 years with us, then transferring to a 4-year university. And one of the main reason why is access. So community colleges are a lot more affordable. So you'll save a lot of money coming to them. It's also a lot more accessible in terms of the admissions requirements. So we take out a lot of the barriers for students to access higher education by not requiring the SAT, ACT, and ironically not requiring the essay or a personal statement. But really great opportunity. 50% of American students will begin their undergraduate degree at a community college. There's about 96,000 international students, including students from Ukraine. And I have several success stories as well of students from your country about students transferring or obtaining an associate's degree and working in the field. And I'll be happy to answer questions about community colleges in the Q&A.
On the other hand, for 4-year colleges, they do offer degrees like a bachelor's degree. You don't have to leave the particular institution. You could stay there and pursue your master's degree and PhD. For these 4-year colleges, as I said, they could be either private and public. For example, if we look at the public specifically, they're all funded by local and state government. They're known for low tuition fees. When you're looking at private universities, and we do have an example here, Pepperdine, they offer same tuition whether you are international, out of state, or in state. They're very known for offering a lot of scholarships for students, and you could be a profit, non-profit, vocational, business, and etc. So now that you know about the type of institutions that actually exist in the United States, we move to the stage where choosing the right university fit. And how to choose the right university fit. First of all, understand that each degree has a particular duration period before completion. For example, if you go to a community college, it's 2 years. 4-year college, you pursue like a bachelor's degree is 4 years, master's degree it could be 1 to 2 years, and doctorate degree it could be 2 to 3 years. So now, finding the right university. The first thing, there are many factors that you need to look at when looking at when choosing the right university fit. The first one is location. As an international student from Ukraine coming to the U.S., it is very important when you look at location. For example, do I want to be in at an institution that actually located in outside the city, inside the city? Do I want to be in suburban, urban? Do I types of things you need to ask? How is the weather there? Do I want to be weather that is very similar to Ukraine, or do I want something different that is hot, maybe dry and etc. Then there's the value here, and the value here we refer to the tuition fees, how much you will be paying, your budget. Of course, also we refer to here about the scholarships. It is your right. We're looking and finding the right university fit to ask about to choose the university that would probably offer you a good deal of scholarships, whether merit-based or need-based, and also will be lower probably in tuition fees. There's also campus life here, and when we talk about campus life as an international student, you would want to know if the housing is guaranteed for you. Is it guaranteed for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Given the current situation of COVID, what are the measures that is taken to for your safety, and also what is offered there, clubs in terms of gyms, and you want to know, and you have the right to ask the question of how many students actually live on campus. Then there is the culture here. The culture refers to diversity. You're a student from Ukraine. You may want to know how many students actually located, or study actually in at that particular university. You want to know how many students from Ukraine, how many international students versus domestic, in-state, out-of-state students. Then we do have selectivity here. It's very important to know because there are some majors that you are interested in that could be very selective. You may want to know and ask, what is the admission rate for that particular, let's say computer science, what is the admission rate? Is it 10%? How selective is it? How it makes me actually stand out to be accepted for that particular major. Then there is support. We are all here, 6 universities. We are here today to show you how much supported we are given the current situation of COVID, and you are all welcome here, but you always have the right to ask the question, how do you guys support international students at your particular university? With this, we move to the next slide. And we will, so basically now you understand the admission process and the educational system in the United States. You know how to prepare yourself, do a self-assessment. There are particular few things that you need to know, and which include like the application process, the essay, the statement, standardized tests, letters of recommendations. Familiarize yourself with the needs and the requirements to apply to that particular university. Not every university is the same. However, the first advice that we give: get to know your admissions counselor, get to know us. We are already 6 admissions counselor. We can help you. We can advocate for you. We can make things very easier for you and to understand. But more importantly, the session is about personal statement, which is part of the the essay, and personal statement, which is part of the admissions process. And I'm gonna stop here and leave it for my colleagues to give you really good information about how to write an effective college essay for college. Thank you.
All right, Liz, please go ahead.
All right, thanks, Chris and Yussi. So when you're thinking about applying to a university in the United States, as my colleagues mentioned, sometimes a personal essay or a series of essays is actually required as part of the admissions process. So when you're thinking about writing an essay, consider this your interview on paper. So oftentimes an admissions counselor doesn't get the chance to personally talk with you or have a conversation. So the only chance for them to really get to know you as a student and a candidate for that university or college is to learn about you as a person through your essay. So this is a chance for you to talk about topics that are not necessarily covered throughout the application, that just has general information about your education background and more statistical information. But this essay is that personal touch that lets you have a voice in your application and also leave an impact for the admission officer to make a holistic evaluation of who you are as a person as well as your character. So this is your chance to talk about your academic achievements, your academic goals in the future, and why you're planning to study in the United States and why that particular institution is the most valuable to you, why you're planning to study any particular program. It's also your chance to talk about your professional goals. What do you hope to do after you accomplish your education and your major? And of course, what are your personal goals and personal values of why you see that university as the best fit for you as a student and as a future professional looking at your eventual career? So you really want to tell the admissions officer who you are beyond the test results, beyond your grades, and show your personal value. So with that, I'll jump to the next slide here. And as you're thinking about what types of topics to cover in the essay, there's actually a helpful acronym looking at the English vowel system, so A, E, I, O, U. So A, of course, stands for activities. Before writing your essay, think about all the activities that you've done throughout your high school, whether it's been through a school event or personal hobbies or interests. What activities have you invested yourself and your time in? This could be hobbies, this could be athletics, it could be music or drama or art, anything that you have found valuable to build your skill set and your character as a student, but also as a person. Next, look at the experiences that you have had through those activities. Maybe you were part of a theater group and you had the chance to go and perform in public for a community theater. Maybe you had the chance to do a cultural exchange or a field trip throughout your education that really impacted you in some way and guided you in the direction for your academic and your personal goals. Brainstorm and make a list of how the activities that you've been involved in have led to experiences that have shaped you as a person and as a student. And then, of course, how have those experiences shaped your interest, which is the I here. So as you're thinking about applying to U.S. universities and colleges, you do have to declare a major. This can, of course, always change. But hopefully the major that you're planning to study is tied to your personal interests, whether that's academic interests, if you have a field of study that you're very, very interested in, or maybe research, as well as your professional goals and professional interests. So whatever your experiences that you've been involved in, you can touch on those interests as well and how it's shaped you throughout those experiences and activities. Then, of course, O stands for outstanding achievements. So this would be anything that you have been involved in or special awards that you maybe have received throughout your activities. So whether it's a scholarship award or recognition through your school, or if you're involved in a volunteer organization and you received special recognition for the work that you did with that volunteer organization, these are things you're also going to want to brainstorm and include in your personal essay, because it's something that has likely shaped you. It's likely shaped your activities, experiences, and interests, and it just ties everything together about you as a person and what is most valuable to you. Then, of course, U stands for university-specific information. So not only are you trying to show the admissions officer why you're the best fit for that institution, but why is that institution the best fit for you? So you might want to talk about the values of that particular university or college that you're applying to. Maybe that college or university specializes in service learning or study abroad or field experience. So what specific aspects of that university speak to you as a person and your character and the values and what you hope to gain from your academic career at that institution? So this would just remember that as you're going through that brainstorming process and you're not quite sure what to write. AEIOU. Hopefully that's a helpful thing for you to remember throughout this process. So with that, I will turn it over to my colleague.
All right, thank you, Liz. All right, so going over the personal statement. So this is a little bit different than the essay in that it's more about you specifically and why you are a good fit for the university. So this is as it says in the title, very personal to you. So how did you develop an interest in your chosen field? What have you done in the direction of your chosen field? What are your long-term interests and goals in your chosen field? You're talking about yourself. So where the essay could be more of a story about your journey or any of the great points that Liz brought up, this is specific to you. So we want to know your ambitions. We want to know why you think that you're a good fit to study at the university. We want to know, how you thought to get there. Why did you choose that specific university? So you can, tell us why you're applying, how you're going to be successful at their specific university. You could write, a personal statement, and it could be catered to each of the institutions that you're applying to, or it could just be kind of a blanket statement. So a lot of, the students that I've talked to and the counselors, they say to write, like a couple of different personal statements, but you can only have so many stories about yourself and why you want to study at a higher institution of education. So you can include any clubs or anything that you belong to. So any kind of like the essay, you can kind of outline your accomplishments, but tie that back into how it is personal to you, why you got into that club or organization, and how that's going to help you succeed at the institution. So that's a little bit about the personal statement. So I will pass it over to my colleague for the next one.
Okay, so one of the things that we always want to take into consideration whenever you're writing anything written is just your content and your style. Just these are a couple quick tips to be able to kind of address these little little nuances that make your essay, your personal statement cohesive. So the first thing I'll say is just making sure that it's in line with your topic. So in the U.S., as you are planning how you're going to write your specific essay or your personal statement for the university, you may be actually assigned a topic. So if you're applying to, say, a business school, that business school might have an essay, a topic that is already pre-assigned. So as you're crafting your essay, your personal statement, you want to make sure that what you're talking about in that personal statement is actually in line with the topic. You can obviously veer a little bit into different areas, but it also has to come back and match with the actual topic of your personal statement. So just make sure that you are that the flow of it is good. It's good to talk about examples which illustrate your point, but you don't want to veer completely off into a different area. Even if you're not like assigned a topic, and you maybe are just doing your own thing, just telling about yourself and things like that, you still want to have like a common theme. You don't want to talk about one situation over here and one situation over here. You want to make sure that it's all in line with the your chosen topic or the story that you're trying to tell. All right. Thinking outside the box. We definitely can't stress this enough. So we often read essays. I think all of my colleagues do. And, there are definitely some that we read that have a similar kind of tone or similar topics and things like that. Like I would definitely say one is for this year, obviously, is going to be COVID-19. So it's you could talk about definitely your experience with it, but definitely realize that it's going to be a common topic. So if you're going to address that topic or any topic, you have to think outside of the box. Think about just the different ways in which different topics relate to your life. Maybe you want to not necessarily have a formal essay. Maybe you want to have like a storyline, or you want to tell your story in a specifically different way. I would definitely say that if you are going to be writing something on business, you shouldn't veer into like something that maybe is like science based or something like that, because it's not going to necessarily relate. But so you want to be in line with your the major, the story that you are wanting to tell, but definitely relevant to the say the major that you're going to be applying for, or even just the type of school that you're going to be applying to as well. If you are, there may also be a word limit. So this is very simple. Just stick to the word limit. So as you generally, what I like to do, and I've seen done, is that you write all of the ideas out that you want to convey, or you write like your first draft, and then as you get done with it, then you start editing, and you start to kind of figure out like what sentences maybe are redundant, that you've talked about before, or ideas that you can kind of cut out or maybe refine, so that you can cut down on your word limit. So definitely we love to read your personal statements, your essays, but if someone, crafts some 25-page, odyssey or something like that, it can definitely be something that you're gonna lose your audience in a sense, unless it's exactly what they're asking. Say if it's some English program that you want to apply to, or English degree. All right. One thing that I always stress as well about writing your essays is telling about yourself. As my colleague Liz said, this is your opportunity. This is your interview on paper. So be very, very comfortable about talking about yourself. Many times, international students, depends on where you are or where you're coming from, are not really comfortable talking about themselves, talking about their accomplishments, talking about what they've learned, talking about or conveying confidence in who you are and what you have to offer. These are all things that we want to know as college representatives, because we're reading about you. You're applying, so you have to give us an idea of what's special about you to be able to say, yeah, well, I think this would be a good person to give this scholarship to, admit to this business program, and so on and so forth. Okay, active voice. So with this, you just want to make sure that you're being clear. You're being clear in the different words that you are using, and also that your voice actually stands out in the content in what you are writing. Many times students can not necessarily use their voice on paper to be able to be in line with a lot of the things that they're actually trying to say, and that they're maybe being a little bit too lax, or maybe being a little bit unclear with some of the ideas that they're trying to convey. So definitely take that under consideration, using your active voice to craft the content and style of your paper. Spelling. I can't stress this enough. It's definitely something that continues to happen. Definitely do your grammar check, do your spell check. Have someone read over, have several people read over your personal statement and your essay. You want to do some editing. You want to make sure that your ideas are concise and clear. So the best thing to do is to do many different drafts, figure out exactly the sentences and things that you want to convey. And then also do several spell checks, grammar checks. Make sure that the words, each sentence even that you are writing is conveying the topic in a clear way, and that the grammar isn't too wordy, or that you don't have different words in weird places, things like that. It even happens for us, English speakers. We kind of do the same thing. So we just want to make sure that that's clear. I already kind of talked about being concise and clear. Again, taking out any redundant sentences, things like that. Using simple words. There are definitely some really cool stylistic words, things like that. But you want to make sure that you aren't using words that are maybe the person that's reading it is going to be completely lost in what you're trying to convey because you've maybe used a word that is maybe a regional or a regional word or a regional expression, or perhaps even idioms or slang, things like that. You want to definitely leave those things out. Lastly, just we kind of talked about this as well, just logic and paragraph, ideas and flow. All right. I think if you've done all of the things that I've just got finished kind of covering, then you will make sure that your content, your style, your paper has just a logical flow of just the things that you're trying to convey. All right. So I hope that gives you some ideas, and I'll go ahead and pass it to my colleague for the next section.
Great. Thank you, Rashad. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about essay topics, and there's a few of them, as you see on the slide right there. This is just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of some of the different things that will be asked in the essay prompts of whichever method you're using to apply. This is certainly not an exhaustive list. These are just 4 examples of possible ones. The first one up there actually comes, that's one of the prompts that's part of the common application. It's one of the 7 essay prompts, in fact, that you can choose from in the common application. And one great thing about these are not secret. So, it's not like you only get it when you're going to apply and turn your application. I mean, you can go look these up now and start kind of thinking through that, even if you haven't, submitted your application or filled out anything on your application yet. You can begin kind of thinking through some of these topics. So, I would suggest, as early as you can in the application process, take a look at these prompts. Just to begin kind of thinking about these, asking, friends and parents, people that know you, if they can kind of speak to some of these things as well. So as I mentioned, the common application has 7 essay prompts. One of those, in fact, is just a prompt that says, share an essay of something that is of interest to you. And it could even have been an essay that you wrote previously for a class that you have. I mean, it would be, you certainly would want to take a look to make sure that when you do submit it, it fits the word requirement and just kind of matches up. And you also want to make sure that it also accomplishes the goals that my colleagues have spoke about before, of telling about yourself and kind of telling your story. So, you don't want to, choose an essay, submit an essay about, some historical figure that you wrote about for one of your classes. That would not be very helpful at all. But if there's an essay that you have written before, kind of about yourself that kind of shows your qualities, that would be appropriate to do in that context if it's for that prompt in the common application. The coalition application is another one similar to the common application where multiple universities use it, and you fill it out one time and you submit it to multiple universities. They have 5 different prompts. And so the good thing about both of those application systems is all the institutions that you are applying to, you just have to write that essay once and then submit it, and it goes to all those different institutions. A couple an interesting way that these examples that are here, as you see presented in the essay topic. So the first 2 that are right there, these are going to be something that you're writing about something from your past. So sharing, as you see the first one there, a background, an identity, interest, something that kind of is about your past or even your present, that describes you. And the second one there is, your greatest talent or skill, and how have you developed that and done that over time. So these are things you're going to kind of be looking back in your life and getting some ideas for those. The second 2 there are more actually kind of looking forward to your future. So, what do you want to accomplish after graduating? Some career goals. So that's going to get you kind of looking ahead. So, there are some very different kinds of essay topics that are out there. So you'll want to kind of think about, what you feel best writing about and what you're most kind of comfortable writing about. And so the main idea, though, is to tell your story. in the essay, and to tell a little bit more about who you are. Once you've picked your topic, you're going to want to do what's called a pre-write. You're going to want to try to jot down as many ideas as you can about that topic. In fact, you can even start doing pre-writes to help you decide which topic you want. So maybe you're trying to decide between 3 or 4. You're really, if you're doing common application and there's multiple ones, you're trying to pick a topic. Maybe if you have a top 3, you can do a pre-write for each of those. And then basically all that is trying to get some ideas out. So you look at the topic, you think about the theme, and you just start writing as many words that pop in your mind along that theme. And so that's a way to help kind of really generate some ideas and help you kind of learn, and think through which one would be the best one for you to write about. So, as you see, there's lots of different options out there. Depending on what system you're applying to for the university, you may be bound to a single topic, but otherwise you may have a lot of choices to do that. And like I said, you can kind of go ahead and look these up ahead of time. So that's just a little bit about the essay topics. And now I believe we're going to move to our time of presenting about our individual universities. We can go on to the next slide.
So Liz, you're up first.
All right, great. So again, I represent Minnesota State University, Mankato. We are a public university located in the north central part of the United States. So we're located in the state of Minnesota. The city where we're located is Mankato. So that's our full name, Minnesota State University, Mankato. We enroll around 14,000 students on our campus and have more than 1,200 international students from over 90 countries, including students from Ukraine who study on our campus as well. And you can choose from more than 130 bachelor degree programs or more than 80 graduate and doctoral programs. We also offer scholarships for international students, both at the undergraduate and graduate levels. So we do have a guaranteed scholarship for undergraduate international students who are accepted to the university. So as long as you receive admission, you are guaranteed admission or guaranteed a scholarship for your first year, and then you can actually renew that scholarship each year afterwards. And it is a 40% scholarship applied towards your tuition and fees. So our average cost of attendance per academic year with cost of living and tuition is around $25,000 US. But apart from that, as far as our admission requirements, we have what's called guaranteed admission for our undergraduate programs. So we focus your admission on your academic transcripts as well as your English proficiency scores. So personal essay or a personal statement is not required for admission on our campus. So you can just apply directly through our university as well. So with that, I will turn it over to my colleagues to share about their campus.
All right, thank you, Liz. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Bobby Branigan. I'm the Associate Director for Embry Riddle Aeronautical University, our Daytona Beach, Florida campus. So as you can see on the map, Daytona Beach, Florida is in the southern part of the United States, very tropical, very hot. We're about 5 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean on our Daytona Beach campus as well. We do have a campus in Prescott, Arizona, and we also have a campus in Singapore. And in addition to that, we do have online through our worldwide campus. So we do have a lot of different modalities, a lot of different ways that you can join our university and have access to that higher education. Our institution focuses more on the STEM-related fields. We're well known for our engineering majors, including aerospace engineering, civil engineering, electrical and computer engineering, mechanical engineering, and many others. We do offer aeronautical science, which is our professional pilot program, where we have over 100 instructional aircraft on both of our residential campuses here in the United States. Excuse me, many programs are housed in our first of its kind College of Securities and Intelligence. That's actually at our Prescott, Arizona campus, and business programs as well. So we offer over 80 total degree programs from the associate level, which is a 2-year degree program up to the bachelor degree, which is a 4-year program, and the master's, and leading on to the PhD or doctoral level. We have a student faculty ratio about 24:1. So you are able to engage with your faculty a little bit more and engage more in that practical knowledge too. So we have over 100 labs and facilities, which includes such things as an ethical hacking lab, aircraft simulators, spaceflight operations, or even games and simulation. We do have over 300 different clubs and organizations, so student involvement and activities on campus are very high. We have students from all 50 states and over 148 different countries. So we're about 20% international on our Daytona Beach campus, and then we're about 12% international on our Prescott, Arizona campus, just because it's a little bit of a smaller campus. We offer partial merit-based scholarships based on the SAT or ACT at this time. However, we are working with our financial aid department to try to determine, if students do not have access to those standardized tests, how they're still able to be eligible for the partial merit-based scholarships. We do have NCAA Division II athletics, so we do offer athletic scholarships as well. But we don't require the SAT or the ACT for admission, as well as we don't require the personal statement or essay. So like Liz at Minnesota State University Mankato, we will really look at your academic profile of your academic transcripts based on your GPA and then your language proficiency as well. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it on to my colleague. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rashad from Missouri Western State University, and so we are in St. Joseph, Missouri, which is about right in the center of the United States. We're about an hour north of Kansas City, which is the biggest city in our region. But you can see a pretty good picture of our campus. It is a small campus, but we're very spread out in many different areas so students for meet and things like that. So we do have about 100 different areas of study, many different areas. You can see on the right-hand side that we have some top undergraduate majors, which is business, engineering, technology, biology, computer science, nursing, and sports management. All right. So the other thing, too, is that we are known as Missouri's only applied learning university. So what that means is that 100% of the students will graduate with an applied learning experience, whether that is service learning or community service or your internships, your volunteering, things like that, co-op programs as well. But those opportunities are very, very common for our students, and also mandatory that they're able to have those experiences before they graduate in their specific major, and also outside of their specific major. We are also very affordable for students coming from abroad. We have an automatic scholarship. It goes up to $4,000 per year. The cool thing about that scholarship is that it actually grows every time you come back to for your next year of college. So you get another $1,000 added to your scholarship just for coming back. It's automatic. We have another $500 for your third and your fourth year, so that you'll be able to get more money every year that you come back. We have a full ride scholarship that pays for everything. It pays for your tuition, your housing, your meals, your health insurance, and your books. There is only one of these scholarships available, but it is very competitive as well as need-based. So students that are applying for it, they have to make sure that we have to make sure that there's going to be a need-based and that they're going to need that scholarship to be able to attend college. There are no SATs that's required for the scholarship or any of our scholarships, as well as there's no SAT that's required for admissions to our university as well. All right, so again, our total cost of attendance is $26,180, and it takes under consideration all of those different things: your tuition, housing, meals, health insurance, books. With that, I'll go ahead and spin it to my colleague for the next portion of this presentation.
Thank you, Rashad. Hello, everyone. My name is Yussi, International Admissions Counselor from Stony Brook University. Stony Brook University is our name. We are also known as SBU, or Stony Brook University, the State University of New York, or SUNY Stony Brook. We are a large research comprehensive institution. We belong to the SUNY system, which is a system of 64 public universities outside the city area. So we are the closest to the city, around 60 miles away from Manhattan and Times Square. That's 100 kilometers. That's also a little bit more than an hour away from the city. What makes us very special is location, of course. It's also very good degrees and programs that we offer to students. Our degrees are highly ranked in the nation. We're very known for engineering, psychology, medical programs. We're also known for business and also biomedical engineering as well. So we're ranked among top 1% in the world. We're also ranked among top 100, top 25 institutions, public institutions in the United States, and in the US there are more than 4,000 institutions. We are a home of more than 26,000 or more than 4,600 international students, and we do have students from Ukraine as well. When applying to Stony Brook University, you just send us your common application, plus you also send us your transcripts, grade 10, 11, and 12, and then your English proficiency test. We are a test option school. You don't really need to apply with the SAT. Test, English proficiency test through either TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo is enough. These are all tests that you can take online from home. So this is, we do also have scholarships available on campus. So we do have the merit-based scholarship, we have the need-based scholarship, the You Are Welcome Here scholarship. These are scholarships that you can apply to us while applying for the university. The merit-based scholarship, you can apply through the WISE program for women in engineering and sciences. There's also the honors program for pretty much any degree program that you want to apply for, whether it's engineering or business or whatsoever. Then we also have the You Are Welcome Here scholarship, which is a scholarship literally designed for international students with leadership skills. So this offers actually a 50% of the tuition fees covered for 4 years actually until they graduate. And then we have the need-based scholarship. As long as student is admitted, all you need to do is just apply, and we will add them to a list to help them financially with some sort of money. This is a very short overview of Stony Brook University, and we'll be happy to talk to you later. Thank you.
Great. All right. Good to talk with you all again. My name is Scot McClamma. I'm going to talk with you about the university where I work at, Pepperdine University. Pepperdine is located in Malibu, California, which is part of the greater Los Angeles area, if you're not familiar with geography of Southern California. We're about 30 to 40 minutes outside of the main city center of Los Angeles. So as you can see, our campus, it's not in an urban setting. We're not in the city of LA, but just outside of it. It's in a very beautiful place. It's right on the Pacific coast. And then right behind the university is the Santa Monica Mountains, which is part of the National Park Service. So lots of great outdoor activities, hiking to participate in, and good fun stuff. Pepperdine is a private Christian liberal arts university with a small to mid-sized student population. So it's around 3,400 students at our undergraduate college, which is called Seaver College. 13% of those students are international, so pretty sizable percentage of our population of international students. We also have 4 graduate schools as well, and some of those are actually located in the city of LA, and we have one down in Orange County, just south of Los Angeles as well. At the undergraduate level, though, which is what I'm going to talk mostly about, we have 44 different majors. It's kind of, as a liberal arts university, there's a number of different things that are on offer for students to study. All of our majors are in the one undergraduate college, so this is not a separate College of Arts and Sciences and College of Business. It's all together at our undergraduate school. As you can see on the slide, our top 5 majors just kind of shows you a little bit of kind of some of the variety and that's on offer. Business being the most popular. But I'll also mention our Screen Arts program as well. It's not a top 5, but it's one of our fastest growing majors. And that's for students studying film, which you can imagine is a very popular major here in Southern California, being so close to the Hollywood studios. Our size that I mentioned earlier, it helps us to keep our class sizes small. So average of 19 students per class size with a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio. That just means there's a lot of opportunities for students to really get to know their professors, engage with them, work on projects with them. We have students that do research together with professors, sometimes even starting as young as first-year students, as freshmen, being able to take advantage of some of those opportunities. There's also a lot of opportunities for internships. So most of our students will do an internship. And notably in our business administration division, there's actually a full-time faculty member whose role is internship placement and helping students get placed at certain companies. And we always have people coming on our campus as well, meeting with students looking for internships. We are on the Common application, as I mentioned earlier. And so we also require the essay as a part of that. So choose one of those 7 prompts that are part of the Common application. We also offer merit-based scholarships for international students. And there's no separate application that's required to qualify for those scholarships. Because it's merit-based, we have all your academic information that we need to make that decision. We also require proof of English proficiency, which could be Duolingo, it could be TOEFL or IELTS. There's also a couple other ways that could be demonstrated. But we are test optional for SAT and ACT. So those tests for 2021 are not required to apply. So that's a little bit about Pepperdine. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Chris, right down the road from me at Orange Coast College.
All right, thank you, Scott, and thank you to all the panelists. I'm going to wrap this up to talk about Orange Coast College, actually in the context of our topic, which is personal statements. So again, Orange Coast College is one of the 115 community colleges in California. So at Orange Coast College, we host roughly about 1,300 international students, and many of our international students, actually a large percentage of them, are looking to transfer to very highly selective institutions. And they had this goal when they're applying to universities right after high school. And many of our students are incredibly bright. They have really strong academics, but the biggest barrier for students to access a lot of these very selective institutions is actually the personal statement in the essay. And the reason why I say that is that international students coming to my specific institution are academically very strong, but they lack academic writing, which is essential to writing a really strong personal statement. And secondly is holistic experiences that are not available in their home country. And oftentimes I find international students coming to OCC specifically is to have a holistic experience as a college student. So when they're applying to a very highly selective institution, they have something in writing, they have experiences available to share. And those are the things that we can offer at OCC. Specifically in the California Community College system, many of our students are applying to the University of California system. So those are very highly selective institutions where they have a 17% admission rate for freshmen, but for transfer students is about 44%. And a big part of that is because the California Community Colleges and OCC provide such a wide variety of opportunities from clubs, sports, different types of majors, research opportunities, and things like that. So when you're ready to write a personal statement or essay to a selective institution that you want to transfer to, you actually have a pretty solid portfolio to do. Another thing too is like many of our students are into the arts. They don't have an art portfolio to apply to these institutions, but that's a separate topic. So again, a lot of really great opportunities at the community colleges because again, we do offer very holistic experiences. Specifically at OCC, we offer 130 different majors. Also, our location has lent ourselves to many different types of internship opportunities in the film and television industry, actually, in the hospitality industry, in business, engineering, architecture. So it's definitely a very well-rounded experience that you could have at a community college. And on top of having those holistic experiences that will be very beneficial when you apply to many selective institutions, you're saving a lot of money. So community college, again, is a very cost-effective way to have a university experience for the first 2 years of your undergraduate education. I'd love to tell you a lot more about OCC, but actually I want to show you more about OCC, which is actually something you should be doing in your personal statement, show, not tell. So therefore, I'm going to invite you to follow us on our Instagram account at OCC Internationals for more information. We update our Instagram account pretty regularly for our followers to do live events and regular updates and things like that. And also our campus overall is very active on Instagram. So our different academic departments do have their own Instagram account to showcase what they're doing in their classrooms. So for more information, again, follow us at OCC Internationals, and good luck. Thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and share this slide right here. This is our contact information for all of us, and we'll move it on to Q&A. Please screenshot this if you want to follow up with us after this presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing the information about your colleges and universities and on your tips about essay writing. Yes, this is the great time for our audience to put their questions. If you want our guest speakers to respond to your questions, please put them on the chat box. Well, I do have a couple questions. And my first question is, what are the common mistakes that the students make on their essays? Can you just tell us?
Yeah, I would love to answer that actually. So for many of our students, I do edit a lot of or give feedback to a lot of our students who are doing personal statements and essays. There's many pitfalls that students do, and they're very common. So the first thing that you need to do is differentiate the difference between a essay and personal statement. Those are two very, very different things. And my colleagues have done a really wonderful job defining those two. But really understand the prompt, answer the question. That is the most important thing. If there's a question that is being asked of you, we're looking for the answer. So make sure that when you're looking at that and you're writing a personal statement or an essay, that you're actually addressing the prompt. And I see that quite a bit. Show and not tell. So context is so important when you're writing a personal statement. Oftentimes students will tell us, okay, I'm a president of a club. But what does that mean? Everybody is a president of a club. We need to know exactly what that really means because we don't know you. We're trying to get to know you behind a screen or a piece of paper or in writing. So you have to provide us context. So I always tell students, show, don't tell. Have organized thoughts. I think that's one thing. This is a process. So you're not going to just do a personal statement, sit down for an hour to write something. It is a process. And one of the things that I always tell students to do is that write an outline of what you want to convey in your personal statement. And if it's addressing the question, and write an outline, then write your personal statement, then give your personal statement to somebody that doesn't know you very well. Because as an admissions officer, I don't know you at all. So give it to somebody that doesn't know you very well and provide feedback. And if they're able to pinpoint a couple of those bullet points that you wrote in your outline, and they can pick that out, then it's a really good personal statement. If they didn't pick any of the things that you're trying to convey, then you have to go back and revise it. Make it all about you. I can't emphasize that anymore, is that it's really all about you. Oftentimes I see students, especially when they're talking about somebody inspirational in their lives. So I've seen personal statements where they talk about their grandmother. Their grandmother did this, she did this, she inspired me. And you're looking about 3/4 of the essay or the personal statement and had no idea who the student is. It's about you, it's not about your grandma. So if you're going to talk about somebody who inspired you, you have to turn it around to be about yourself. It's all about self-advocacy. We really want to know who you are as a person. We only have roughly about maybe 2 minutes or less to read your personal statements. Many universities get thousands, so you really have to convey those thoughts in that very short period of time.
Thank you. And from your own experience, what was the most memorable essay probably you read? Something, or just another, I want to just rephrase it. What makes the personal statement outstanding? Just to stand out of those huge number of essays that the admission commission is reading, I believe, during the admission process.
I'll jump in here. One came to mind when you asked kind of for an example, and there was an essay I read, a student in Vietnam, and she talked about her experience with her younger brother who has autism, and how she was kind of helped to be a caretaker for him. But that kind of essay could be in a way, not necessarily the most effective, because if she's just telling the story about him, then it doesn't tell about herself. But the way that she told it, she managed to write about her experience with her younger brother, but to do it and kind of show her personal growth, how at first it was very difficult and she kind of despised having to play this role of caretaker. She really expressed her personal feelings and her emotions that she was going through at the time, and then showed her period of growth, how she kind of came around to it, and then really kind of, she also kind of despised her mom because her mom put this pressure on her and this responsibility on her to be the caretaker. But then, how she came around to seeing, her mom as being a very strong person that had to deal with this more so and for a lot longer than she had. So that's one that really kind of stuck out to me. I think I actually had tears by the end of the time, because this was a girl that I had met and recruited and knew. And so that one that really kind of stuck with me, and she really did a great job as well, like Chris said, of showing and not just telling.
Thank you very much for sharing. Wonderful story.
Yeah, I just want to add to what my colleagues also said. I do remember reading an essay where a student actually, because we don't see these students, so we only see like mostly the academic part, and the essay is a way like to literally get closer to the student and have a sense of like what they look like, maybe what other criteria or skills that they have. So I remember having a student who also pretty much exactly the same thing, and mentioned that while applying, her dad just passed away, and we felt really bad and about that application, and we understand the circumstances that the student actually going through. So basically, the essay itself, what shows us as admissions counselor is that the student had thought carefully about our institution and that they are a good match to our institution. So the part of I know you ask about the tips. What we ask students when because essay, it's English is, first of all, English is like our third or second language. So there's already that difficulty of like, oh my God, I may not express myself well and all of that. I have to use a really good dictionary and stuff. So we ask students, be simple and just you don't have to look like Shakespeare in writing that essay. Just be simple and write it and express yourself simply. Answer why, how, where, when, and all of these WH questions, and you will end up with a really beautiful paragraph. And this is the kind of advice I personally give to students.
Thank you. We do have a couple questions from our audience. So tell us, please, what do you want to read in the recommendation letters from different stakeholders, science, job supervisors, etc.?
I can jump in and answer this one. I think from recommendation letters, it's really helpful for admissions counselors to get a clear sense that the person writing the recommendation actually knows the student. So I would say if the student can have some kind of conversation or provide clear information to whoever may be writing the recommendation letter, whether it is a school guidance counselor or a teacher, or maybe somebody who oversees a club or an organization that student is part of, we want to see that the student has made a clear connection with that person, so that the person writing the recommendation letter can speak to that student's value and characteristics. Because oftentimes we get very, I'll call them cookie cutter templates from people writing recommendation letters where they might not know the student on a personal level. So it's a really important decision when the student is thinking about who is writing that recommendation letter, that person will be able to speak to their qualities and to their character and also their academic abilities and achievements. And of course, for students who maybe are having a difficult time thinking of a teacher or a guidance counselor or somebody who could write their recommendation letter for them, I would set up a time to meet with the person you're thinking about asking, whether it's a phone call for just 10 to 15 minutes or an email message. Talk with them about why you're applying to the United States, why you're applying to that particular university. So at least through that conversation, you can give the person writing your recommendation letter a clear picture of who you are and why this is an important aspect of your academic and professional career. So even if you don't have as close, if you can't find somebody who has as close a relationship with that student, at least having this preliminary conversation will help that person as they're writing their recommendation letter as well.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, another question is about the video recorded essay. What do you say about the video recorded essay? Do you think it's a good idea?
I'll jump in here. So I mentioned earlier, so we do, the only way where we actually require a video, not really require, we give it as an option. So we have a scholarship called the You Are Welcome Here Scholarship. Students will have to write an essay about leadership and how can their leadership skills can be a good addition to the community of Stony Brook. So we do give them two options, either to write an essay or put a video of yourself together. So video is very simple. Students will just demonstrate all their skills and share their experiences and how, but the thing that makes those videos stand out is that most of students actually come up to be very creative, like by adding some sort of like animations to the video and highlight all those skills. And we'll love that most because it's more interactive than writing an essay. I don't know if, but we do not require a video essay for the application.
Thank you, Yossi. I think this is the last question we have. If the university asks specific questions in the statement of purpose, should I only need to follow these questions, or should I add some paragraphs that are not mentioned by university?
I would definitely say it's always good to make sure that a student is answering the question. It might be good as well to add a little bit of more ideas behind your answer, though. So if I'm sure that a lot of us have gotten these types of questions before, and you say you just answer that question. Well, when you just answer that question, then it doesn't give the reader a little bit more information about you as a person and maybe why you answer the question the way that you did. So you do want to add a little bit more to really give us a clear idea of your thoughts, what you learned from maybe the scenario, or maybe some greater thinking or mature and developed, well-developed thinking behind your answer. You definitely don't want to just say just like a one sentence response to or that specific thing. So definitely it's good to be able to elaborate on that question. But at the same time, you don't necessarily want to go into a completely different area. Like if the question is about basketball and you end up talking about football and soccer and things like that, just as an example, you want to definitely stick to the original subject. But that's what I would recommend in that situation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just attest to what Rashad said. I completely agree. And I think it's really important that you do have a word limit. So you definitely want to talk about what's relevant to the question and again, provide context and information because you don't want to waste your space. I always tell students that don't waste your space. And before we wrap up, I just actually want to go back to the question about the letters of recommendation. And I think what I'm going through that process right now, I'm writing letters of recommendations for many of my students who are transferring. It is a long process, actually, and I always tell students, get your application, really early on and start to prepare early because, asking for a letter of recommendation, you need to build a relationship with that particular person, and it doesn't happen by just sending somebody in, request to write a letter of recommendation. So you really have to build that because I need to attest to what you have accomplished and also need to attest to our relationship as me as your mentor and as the applicant of the institution. So, and I can also tell when students are just being buddy with me because they just want a personal statement or they just want a letter of recommendation. So it's really important that you do build that relationship with that person very early on, and it's a very authentic relationship that you have with that person.
Thank you, Kristoffer. Thank you so much for the information. And That's all questions, and thank you very much for your time for the presentation. And we will share your contact information with our students. And have a nice day, everybody. I think this is all for today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
And have a good night.